And it's like it's hard because like it's free to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like it's fucking terrifying. Like I know for myself, like one of my biggest things with doing the podcast is like,
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
hey, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about, topics like mental health, self-development, things that just don't come up on a daily basis. Just because I feel like if someone's listening out there, they might feel alone. They could hear this and think, holy shit, I'm not the only one. I think that that's kind of a message that resonates with a lot of people. If you're down with that shit, you'll probably like this podcast. If you're not, you might want to listen to something else. But today I'm joined by Brynt. He's a music producer. You're out in Atlanta, right? In Georgia?
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's Brian. Yeah, I'm from Atlanta.
Yeah, dude. How about you give yourself a little bit of an introduction? Because this is actually, for people that are listening into this, this is the first time we've ever actually chatted together, other than just like a few text messages back and forth. But why don't you give yourself a little intro and we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah, so I'm Brian. I'm a music producer from Atlanta. I found this podcast. I definitely thought it was cool how there was been like a lot of unfiltered talk about mental health. And that's something that's definitely got me here as far as my journey and actually like doing this shit and actually like taking it seriously. So I appreciate you having me on.
Hell yeah, man. Well, like, why don't we jump into like how you got into producing music in the first place, just to kind of like give people a background story.
Yeah. So, all right. So, you know how it's funny, before this, we were talking about how, you just got to put yourself out there as far as like putting your face out there and stuff. So I actually started on YouTube doing that, and I was a singer, but I was like known as like Lance Bryant Sings or whatever back in the day. It was like ninth grade in high school. But in eighth grade, I was doing that way before too, but I started getting hate and stuff from it. Because I was actually getting a lot of views. So it was just kind of different for people. And they basically like nobody, that wasn't really a thing where people would like be on YouTube like that, taking it seriously. But I kind of had that figured out at a young age. But then I totally just took down the channel and started doing other stuff, playing football and shit. And I think I ran cross country, played lacrosse, just kind of did the whole like jock phase. And then I kind of came back to music later, but that's a whole different story. Sorry, it's like the origin story is so long.
Fine, man. I got time.
Yeah, so I started going to community college and started playing around with the computer a little bit more, and ended up getting another computer because I was just using like my mom's computer at the time and was like downloading some software and stuff. But I actually started taking it seriously. I think I downloaded this program called Logic on my Mac, and that kind of got me into like making songs and actually writing songs and things like that. And then a few years later, I started going to this music production school. I dropped out of the other school. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I actually did insurance for a while too. So like I've always been like money focused and stuff. Long story, just random stuff, honestly. But then I went to the music school, and it was called SAE in Atlanta. It's a great school. Learned a lot about audio engineering, a lot about music business. And ever since, I've just been thinking about, I really want to make music, but I want to do it like behind the scenes. So it's been is anywhere from like audio engineering, but mostly music production and actually like making beats and making instrumentals and things like that. But yeah,
Sick,
that's
man.
pretty much it. Yeah.
That's dope. We got kind of similar stories that way, actually. I remember when I was growing up, man, like it's like, I think when I was a kid, I played trumpet in like the school band, but then when I was like grade 8 or 9, I got my first guitar. And so like for me, I was like, fuck, dude, I want to become a shredder, but I didn't want any of my friends to know I was trying to learn guitar because I didn't want them to think that, I don't know why. It was like my ego. I was like, I don't want people to know I'm learning something. And like being a beginner at something. And I was kind of like the same thing that you said. I was like trying to play that role of like a jock. Like I was playing like rugby and hockey, obviously like every other good old Canadian boy playing hockey. So I was like,
Right.
fuck, man, I don't want to be like the music guy, but music's always been one of my biggest passions. And it's funny, I don't talk about that a lot on social media or on my Instagram or anything like that, or this podcast even, but like music's one of my biggest passions. It's always like, it's one of those things, it sounds cliche. It's just always been there for me to kind of like lean on, but it sounds like you kind of 100% understand that for sure. Like, dude, that's so sick that we have so many parallel, and even like the sales, like insurance sales. Like one
Uh,
of my old jobs, I was like in sales in the fitness industry. So it's
oh
like
man.
kind of such a similar background, man. How funny is that? That's too cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a lot of people realize that the sales teaches you a lot about life. It teaches a lot about people and endurance and all kinds of stuff mentally. It's crazy. And it has a
Yeah.
lot to do with sports too. But what part of Canada are you from?
I'm on the West Coast, man. I'm in Vancouver. Like I'm like probably like 2 hours north of Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always wanted to go. Actually, those two places, Seattle and Vancouver. I feel like that would be sick. I've never been on that side. I've only been to California. That's as far west as I've been, and not even up. I want to go up though so bad.
Yeah, I've had the privilege. I've driven up and down the West Coast a couple times, but I've been, yeah, all over Arizona, all over Nevada. The only place I've
Mhm.
been out east, I went to Disney World as a kid in Florida, but like that,
Yeah.
I've never been out east, and even Canada, I haven't been. It's a huge country, man. Like it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're the same span, right? East to west.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, a lot of people don't realize like there's so much up there, but I even want to go to Michigan. Like, I just feel like even as far as the US, they're totally different atmospheres, totally different places like than the South. The South is, and I've been other places, but I mean, I've never been out of the country. So I definitely want to go like travel and stuff, especially like up north and stuff.
It's a funny place, man. I feel like if you're from like Georgia, I think Vancouver would be a funny place for you to go, man. It's a pretty weird place. I love it here. It's definitely bizarre though, especially if you come from like if Georgia's anything like Florida. I've been to Florida and it's like any states that are somewhat southern, they're like it's a different world, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I feel like God, I feel like there's a lot of different places though in the South that people would come to and they'd be like, they wouldn't think that the South does certain things or like, I don't know, is like certain things. And I don't know, like there's so many things about the South where I feel like if we see something crazy, like we almost like understand. I mean, depending on who you are and where you go. But if you're like one of those like accepting, I guess, like people, as far as like when you're in the South, and I don't know, man, it's crazy. People are open to so many things. I definitely want to go up north though. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would compare Vancouver. I was gonna the biggest comparison. I feel like Seattle and Vancouver are literally the exact same thing for me. Like, because I've been to Seattle a couple times. I used to camp around there when I was a kid, but then I've been to a couple Mariners games as well. Because like the only Canadian MLB team is the Blue Jays, and that's across the country. So it's a lot easier just to drive south and go to the Mariners games when the Blue Jays go there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool, man. I like and each like I feel like the states, well, I guess Canada's kind of like this as well, but I feel like every state has its own culture, man. Like, because especially where I was at, like I was like kind of in this place, it's called Lachlan, Nevada. And it's like right
Mm,
on the border of Arizona, California, and Nevada. So I was like kind of spending time in each state around there. And like, dude, it's so different, especially Nevada to California is like different worlds, man. But
yeah.
my roommate went to school in Texas for a little while, so he's told me a couple of stories about being around. He was near Dallas, and so like he was kind of just chilling out there for a little while, and he's told me some pretty crazy but funny stories, man.
Yeah. Well, you said Dallas, like Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, yeah, he went to school down there. They do like firefighter training over in Texas. So
Oh
like
yeah.
for us in Vancouver, there's like a college that does it locally. It's called like the Justice Institute of British Columbia. That's the province we live in.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you the other option, if you don't do that, there's like a transfer program down in Texas. And him and his buddy were like, dude, let's just go to Texas and do this school. Like that would be sick.
Yeah. Man, honestly, Texas, that again, that's another place. Like I've flew over it. I've never been there, but honestly, I would love to go. I feel like there's so much to see out in the US still. I definitely want to travel to other places though.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like yeah, US and Canada are so similar that way because like obviously you want to go to other countries. Like I want to go all over the states, but it's like, dude, you have so much country to discover in your own, man. Like it's so
Mhm.
sick.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah. Even what's
sorry, go
up?
ahead. I was gonna change the
No,
subject, so you go ahead first, man.
oh no, I was just gonna say, even in Atlanta, there's still stuff I'm discovering every day. Like, I'm not even like technically from here. I'm from like the outskirts, so it's just constantly discovering new things in the city. It's pretty cool. But yeah, you can go ahead and just change the subject. My bad.
No, no, it's all good, man. Actually, Vancouver is very similar to that because I live in a city. I'm not actually in Vancouver. I live a city south, just south of it. It's like a 20-minute drive, but
Hmm.
we just tell everybody that we're from Vancouver. But
Yeah.
I live in like a city that's just south of it, and that's actually where the airport is. And
Hmm.
it's nuts, like the culture difference between like Vancouver and Richmond, like the city that I live in. It's like
Hmm.
it's so crazy. Like in each little city, there's so much different little like pockets of culture. Like my roommate's from like two cities over, and when he came here, I'm like, yo, I got to show you all the hole in the wall restaurants, like all the greasy spoons around here. And he's like, I
Yeah.
never thought this would exist in Richmond. So it's like kind of cool that way when you go to different cities.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that sounds a lot like what we do here in the South is we'll say, "Oh, I'm from Atlanta," because we know that the place that we're talking about, they're not going to know where we're from. Like, I don't know, just random cities like Alpharetta. They're not going to know where that is. They're just going to say they're from Atlanta.
Yeah, it's
So,
the exact same thing. Like anytime I ever travel, people ask me, I'm like, yeah, I'm just from Vancouver, like in Canada. We had the Olympics back in 2010. That's our claim to fame. Like
yeah,
that's
I
pretty
think we're
much
like
it.
1999. I don't even remember. It was whenever they had the Georgia Dome. They like
Yeah, I
just
don't
made,
remember either, man.
yeah,
Ignorant
that
Canadian.
shit's
I just
gone
know
now.
when we had it.
Man, I know we all got to claim our Olympics, though. I agree.
So sick, man. Yo, so I was gonna ask you when you were in high school, because you said you were singing on YouTube for like grade 8 and 9. Like,
Yeah.
did you mainly stop because of like kind of the hate you were getting and like you were like, fuck, this isn't really helping me fit in? Like, is that kind of why you stopped, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. Yeah. I straight up, like, I didn't like it, but I don't know. It taught me a lot about YouTube in general. And that's kind of the whole point is I kind of gave up when I understood, like, you're in now, you know? That's kind of like the whole game is like once you start getting hate, but you're actually the numbers are showing different. That's when you're actually doing something right. So I don't know. Looking back, I think about it all the time. What if I kept going? You know? So I don't know. But here we are now. We definitely are on a more clear path, and I definitely like understand what I have to do. And like, yeah, like with challenges and stuff, they've been they've been all around me. It's this whole journey, but I think I'm just really looking forward to. I'm finally looking forward to honestly seeing like the payoff of it, if that makes sense at all.
Bro, trust me, that's literally, I feel like that every single day, man. Editing podcasts and everything like that. It's like,
Yeah.
man, but and it does start to pay off as well because like the first message you sent me in the very beginning, and even you kind of like alluded to it earlier. Like it's like, dude, that is the payoff for me. Like when people message me and they're like, "Holy fuck, man!" Like that like resonates with me, or I really connected with this. Like that is the payoff for me. Like I actually already work a full-time job. I work in construction, so it's like that pays my bills. Like I do this because it's like, man, I was fucking suffering as a teenager. And I just wanted other people to be able to be like, fuck, man, I really understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, the teenage years were some of the roughest, but honestly, looking back, and the good news is I didn't know it then, but I know it now from like just like being in therapy and all that. Like you just learn so much. Like that wasn't actually good, or that was actually wrong, or that wasn't a good kind of relationship. So it's like, I don't know. Looking back, you just kind of see it and you're like, now I get why that couldn't be, why that didn't work out type thing.
Yeah, dude. I was just reading. I just finished this book this morning. One of my buddies wrote a book. Actually, this guy I met. Well, actually, I haven't even met him yet. He's a friend of a friend, but I read his book, and there's a section in his book he's talking about like having to go through all the shitty relationships where you have like temptation always in the back of your mind or toxic relationships, and how each one of those is like a lesson for when you actually find the person you're supposed to be with, so you can actually like have a healthy, sustainable relationship with someone you love. Like, dude, that's like
Yeah.
literally hits like, because I just read about it this morning. So it's funny you say that, man.
Who's it by?
His name's Bobby Basran. He just started his own podcast as well. So this is his first plug. But yeah, dude, it's a book called Living with Yourself. It's just like a bunch of lessons he learned from like going and visiting this monastery by his hometown. It's like this it's an even smaller town. It's called Kamloops. It's like 4 hour drive from Vancouver. But I went camping with there, funny enough, with a couple of buddies, and I met a buddy of his at the bar who was like, "Dude, you'd really like my buddy. You should connect with him." And we just chatted on Instagram. I talked to him on the
Yeah.
phone. But I told him, I'm like, bro, if you ever come to Vancouver, you can stay here. You just got to sit down with me and do a podcast episode.
Yeah. No, that's sick. I'll have to check it out. Bobby.
Bobby
What's his last
Basran, Basrin. And the book's called Living with Yourself. So there's his
Yeah,
first plug, man.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would read, honestly. I am reading the first few pages. I just started reading the subtle art by whatever his name is, the guy that does
Is it Mark
yeah,
Manson Mason? I can't remember. The subtle art of not giving a fuck, right?
yeah, that one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't remember his name. I don't know why, but yeah,
I think it's Mark Manson or Mark Mason. I'm gonna butcher that and people will bitch at us.
oh, anyways, it's
Fuck
whatever.
it, dude. They know the
Yeah,
book, man.
yeah,
How do you like it so far?
man, like I said, it's just like the first like beginning pages or whatever. But I started reading it a while back, in more depth. I don't remember exactly where I read to, but I do remember. I can't remember the exact passage, but it hit home with me about, and it felt like, I don't know why, it felt like almost like Gary V was on my shoulder. Like, and it's probably not what he wanted to hear. So if you're gonna plug this too, sorry, but I don't know. It's just it made me start thinking about how many times I've let people tell me you can't do this or you can't do that, and honestly, going back to YouTube, I actually connected with that a little bit. Kind of made me realize, like, wow, like I have not been a confident person. I don't know. That's just the message that kind of stuck with me. And like, I don't think I ever was. What is confidence? And so just things like that, little messages like that. But yeah, I definitely need to read the rest of that book. But
It's a
yeah.
sick book. I've actually read it. It's a good book, man. I really enjoyed it. I think I might have listened to just the audiobook version of it. So I can't say I read it, but you feel me, man. But
Yeah, I love audiobooks, to be honest. That's my favorite way to read a book.
yeah, dude. Like I said, I work in construction. And sometimes when I'm working alone, I just pop headphones in and just the hours just blow by, man. It's so sick.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
unreal,
man.
man. Even for my drive to and from work, I've just started listening to audiobooks as well. Cause it's like, man, I listen literally my music taste. Well, I do jump around, but I listen to the same six playlists all the time, man. Cause the music I love, I fucking love. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I get hooked on artists really quick. So then I'll just listen to everything from them.
yeah. Do you ever say it free when you're in the car? Like your favorite artist, almost like it's a concert, your own concert?
Oh yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know what kind of music, like when you were singing, what kind of music were you singing and what kind of music do you normally listen to?
All right. So it's gonna make sense why people were making fun of me. But I would sing like good R&B music, but like for a few videos, because at the time, see, because I knew the strategy, I knew the SEO and all the gems, you know? So I did a Justin Bieber cover or two or three, I can't remember.
Don't worry,
But
man.
this
He's
is
Canadian. You're repping.
it, I figured it was gonna be okay. I figured. So I did a few, and that's when I feel like the hate started coming. But I got a few requests, and honestly, it was from the people that were making fun of me. So I don't know. Maybe they
Well,
were like, again, like Bieber, how they wanted to make fun of him, but then a few years later, man, honestly, he's got pretty good music. Not gonna lie, you know how
not just
everybody.
that, but like, bro, you have no idea how many, like when he was big here, like it was the exact same culture. Like people were talking shit, but it's like, bro, people are talking shit to Bieber, and he's a fucking millionaire now, so they could shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's like what the fuck are you doing, man? Like
same thing. And he's like, he can get a new life like that. He's
100%, man.
he's
That's like the
crazy.
thing I remember, dude. Because I get people that say shit like that to me sometimes. They're like, "Oh, what do you think you are, like fucking Tony Robbins or Gary Vee?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Bro, just like shut the fuck up, man." Because like, dude, like the way I look at it, like people like yourself, like that are actually sitting down and like committing to this, they're like, "Fuck it." Because you said something earlier I was gonna comment on where you're like, I sometimes I look back and I think like, what if I kept going?
yeah,
And like, dude, I think about shit like that all the time with a bunch of stuff that I used to. Playing guitar is one of them. Like, what if I kept going? I would be so fucking good by now. Like, dude, that was a decade ago for me. Like, so it's like, man, that is one of the feelings I try and like use as like a reminder for myself, because it's like, dude, this time's gonna pass by anyways. So in 10 years,
mhm,
do I want to be 10 years deep into working on a podcast? Or do I want to be thinking about like, fuck, I should have done that 10 years ago? Like, do you ever
right.
think about that with producing now?
Yeah, so it's funny because I'm also so I'm huge in like digital marketing and stuff and doing stuff around like just different things like that. So that's like a love of mine, like for the money, but also because of like it's just fun to do. But I really started leaning into that. Me and my brother are like trying to start a business. Um, and it's actually technically two businesses from that, which is why it was so demanding. But for a minute there, like yeah, I did. I started to think like, looking back, do I want to look back and go, well, I made all this money, but I should have probably produced. And like now I don't have a record with this person or that person was popping. Like you could have easily like, made a record with them. And I had somebody come to mind even like last night. It's like you got to hop on this opportunity because if you don't, you'll realize like that could have been like your spot. You could have been, helping somebody out. You could have been actually being real and building an authentic relationship that was going to take you into being the next or even the first so and so. Who knows? But like, yeah, it's definitely it's to that point where like I get tired of saying what if, and so yeah, that's why I just lately it's been music and anything surrounded around like music surrounded uh I that's just what I go to, and that's as far as like the other stuff and digital marketing, that kind of is just working itself out in its own time, but I've got people with that. So but yeah, it's pretty cool though. I mean, it feels good to be back. I mean, it feels good to do it full time, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you could be like full-time producing and making or earning like earning a living through that, would you drop the digital media at all? Would you just be like, yo, I'm going all in on producing? If that could be like a like pay all your bills and everything.
I feel like, well, see, like it depends on what you mean by that. But you mean like DJ Khaled full time, or do you mean like just how somebody just is able to start going full time?
Like I mean, like if you didn't have to do any other work, like if you were like you could just comfortably live through producing, like would you do other work, you think, or would you
Yeah.
just do that?
So that's where I would take, saying we're on that scale that I'm like thinking of, that's where I would take, because of my love for digital marketing, because that's really like the music industry at this point. And it would just be like, that would be my job. I would basically like have people almost like how DJ Khaled, like I would have my producers and I would have my artists. And it's kind of like that's honestly, so it's funny I was talking about internet money. That is Taz Taylor in a nutshell. Not a lot of people give him a lot of credit, but yeah, he can make amazing beats and he can make, he can get like the best people together in the studio, but he's a genius digital marketer. Like the dude is just hella inspirational for me. And you know, it's funny because I don't ever think about connecting the two together, but I feel like I could. I don't know. I'm more of like business minded when it comes to it, but that's all the music business is business. So I mean, it's just we get caught up in just loving it. That's all. Us as producers, you know, we just caught up,
100%, man.
just caught up in the, oh, this sounds amazing, or even the little shit like that 808 sounds so nice, or you know, the hi-hats are, they're too, I don't know. That's just the shit we focus on, but there's a bigger scale that definitely needs to be like clamped down on. And I think that's what a lot of people like take heed. OZ, these are shout outs to like some of my favorite producers. Yeah. Honestly, all the guys from Internet Money are just killing it though. But yeah, a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that.
Yeah, dude. I know what you mean though about like just like falling in love with it, because that's how I am with like so much music, man. Like in terms of like hip hop and rap, like I'm into a lot of like older school stuff. Like Tribe's my favorite, obviously, from the West Coast. So we got to pick someone from the opposite end. but yeah, dude, like I've always been like hella into lyrics. Like it's funny because my roommate plays bass. And so every time like we're like listening to music and we're like comparing like, oh, what do you think is sick about this artist? And I'm like, dude, lyrics. Like I love the lyrics. And then all he hears is drum lines and bass lines because he's so tuned to like listening to the rhythm. And it's so funny to hear people go in and just like appreciate small things about it. Like you're saying, like when you're producing, it's like, dude, this like snare sounds sick, or this 808 sounds sick. Like it's like, dude, I feel that 100%, man. It's just like an appreciation for the art.
Yeah. You said you like lyrics more?
Yeah, man. That's like what I always hear first is like lyrics, because I'm kind of a nerd, man. Like I just started reading a lot in the last couple of years. So now I'm like reading lyrics a lot more as well, man.
Yeah. So I was thinking about something the other day, and it's so weird. It's such a random song, but it's like it's a great random song. It's like something you don't mind hearing when you're in the store. Smash Mouth by All Star is honestly a really well written song.
Really?
I don't, and like, man, like honestly, like it gives me such Shrek vibes. But like, if you just like think about the name, think about the lyrics of the song, uh, that and I mean that one's okay. But actually, also, I was thinking about this one too. Waking Up in Vegas by Katy
Katy
Perry.
Perry.
It's actually, dude, Katy Perry is the shit. Like, I
Dude,
don't
I've
care what
seen her
anybody
live.
says.
I'm not even gonna lie. I've seen her live, dude. She kills
When?
it. Dude, back in the
What?
day, man. She's so sick, man. I saw her like I think I was like grade 11 or grade 12. So it's like
Oh
10 years
man.
ago, dude. And it was like
So
right
like
when
when it was happening.
yeah, dude, when California Girls came out. It was
Oh
sick,
man.
dude.
Dude. Okay. Yeah. So anything she makes is fire. I don't even know. Like, I mean, like, yeah, she's got like this background story and stuff. And it's like, it was on Netflix a while back. I don't know why I didn't want to watch it. It's just, but I don't know. As the years have gone by, Katy Perry is just even more cool. And I don't know why. I
Yeah,
don't.
dude. She slaps, man. That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
That they were thinking of the future. That's just how the music, I don't know. The music industry is crazy, but yeah. If we had another artist like Katy Perry, that would be cool. But I don't know if they could do it the same.
Yeah, who to compare her to. Like I literally can't think of another artist. I guess maybe like because I just don't really listen to that genre very much, but I couldn't think of someone to compare her to. She's so sick, man. I don't know. I'm trying to like rack my brain right now and try and
Yeah,
figure out who I could compare her to, but she's a one of a kind, man. 100%.
she is. So where do you think music's going? And like,
Dude,
no,
I don't know, man. Like because I listen to literally every genre. Like I know everyone says that, but I'm like I fucking really love every single genre. And I listen to like a lot of like rock, I listen to a lot of punk, I listen to a lot of like even reggae and country. I listen to literally everything. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like everything right now, especially like what's played on, well, I guess the radio is not really a good metric to judge by, but it's on all the time when I'm working, and like we usually have rock or country on the construction site. And like even country's going so pop now, man. I was thinking about calling in the other day and being like, dude, Johnny Cash would be fucking pissed if he heard this. Like,
Dude, okay. So the South loves that shit. I'm dead serious. They love
the pop
well,
country.
actually, kind of, yeah. So like they have like this is their exact reaction. Like, yeah, they would love to hear like more songs like that Tim McGraw song, something like that, like the
Yeah,
barbecue
yeah.
stand on. Yeah, yeah. They would love to hear stuff like that again. That's like that perfect balance, which
The
is still more
90s
pop.
country, man. The 90s and
Yeah,
early 2000s country.
yeah. But they have these artists like Morgan Wallen. He's actually a really popular one. He's not actually that bad, but he's got this new unreleased song I heard on TikTok the other day, and it's got like this 80s vocal, like engineering technique on his voice. Um, I think it's called like You Proof. It's actually a good song. Like the drums are kind of weird though. Not gonna lie, like they got like a weird. It wasn't mixed right at all, but I don't know. I feel like country is kind of headed. Actually had a conversation with a friend. He said pop just across all genres and country is going back to the 80s because we were in the 90s and now we're going back to the 80s because we're doing like our early 2000s thing. It's been like 20 years. So I don't know how it
Yeah.
works, but
I could see that though, because in the 80s, like the lyrics were kind of just like lighthearted, like kind of, they wasn't like heavy lyricism in music. Like the 70s kind of were, but like the 80s was just kind of like, fuck it, let's just party and have fun kind of lyrics. Like it was
yeah,
lighthearted. But then like in the 90s and the early 2000s, you had like so many other people writing lyrics that were like about social issues. And it was way more like in every industry, like rock, rap, anything, like the lyrics were just so much heavier in the 90s and the early 2000s. So like
yeah,
I feel like you're right, man. Like I feel like because most of the music that's like popular on pop radio and country, even like pop rock, like on like local rock stations, you hear it, like it's like always like lighthearted. Like me and one of my buddies that I work with all the time, like we always joke about like, oh, great fucking lyricism in this one. Hey, like fucking
yeah,
just garbage, but they just want to make a banger now. Like that's it.
yeah, yeah. I feel like who was it? In hip hop, Playboy Cardi, like last album, it's almost like, how about we just like put a few words in there? And he says the same shit over and over, not shitting on him. He's a genius, but at the same time, like it's like there's like I see like certain people, like I see their genius in their thought process. Cause like some people I've noticed they'll make music and they're not making a full song, they're making a concept. And I know that's kind of weird because it's like because music has like no end and no like it's so crazy you can do anything. What they do is they just make a concept and then they call it a song. It's like when they make a movie. I was watching some movie with my girlfriend, and the movie ends at where you think it should finish the story. And so it's like, oh, it's a concept, but that's a film now, technically, because it's art. So it's just cool how people's like art is so different. But I still consider it like all art, like even the weird stuff. Like I could flip it and sample.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I was about to ask you that question because I remember like remember when Travis Scott came out with what's it fucking called? That Astro World,
Yeah.
and he sampled Give Me the Loot.
Yeah.
Do you
What
think
is that
that
from? I forget. I mean, oh,
stargazing.
yeah, but
Well,
the
Give
give
Me
me
the
the
Loot.
loot.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
from Give Me the Loot. It's from Biggie Small's song, Give Me the Loot.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because I
But
heard that the other day. I was like, okay, I'll have to remember this. And that's slipped my
yeah,
mind.
dude.
So thanks.
No
Yeah.
worries, bro. But I was gonna ask you, do you think that like when you're saying like artists just make concepts now, do you think that they're doing that in hopes that like future artists sample their shit?
That. Um, but I also think in that song particularly, I don't know why. I don't know if I have the same thing that Kanye has, where he says he can see sounds. I think he says like it's an actual condition where you can see colors. But like I like when I ever since I was a kid, I would like close my eyes. Now I could do it like with my eyes open. But like when he's in, that Q beat sample, and it's like taking you through, and he goes, "Give me the loop." No, sorry, that's not a Q beat sample. It was a few measures before that. But yeah, he goes, "Give me the loop." Whenever I hear that, I don't know why. I'm imagining I'm on one of those very interactive indoor roller coasters, and you're just surrounded by Travis's world. I don't know, and just like in his thoughts. So like I feel like the ad libs were his thoughts. I don't know if that makes sense. But
100%, man. Dude, that song, that whole album was actually nuts. I remember when it first came out, I was like, holy shit, every song on here is good, man.
yeah, yeah. But what was you were saying something about sampling? I wanted to get back to that. You
I was
said, do I?
I
Go
was
ahead.
thinking, like, do you think that artists sometimes, because you were saying like some songs that some artists make, they're just like kind of concepts, like there's not like a lot of deep lyricism behind it. Do you think that they're doing that in hopes that like someone might sample their shit later on? Because like think about how many times like people sample like old Kanye tracks, like or anything like that, Like, do you think that they're like making beats like that because they're like, oh, this beat's a banger, but I don't really have lyrics for it?
Like our children for sure. Like way in the future, like our children's children, yeah, they'll be sampling Kanye albums for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Like
How about,
in some way.
I
The
was gonna say,
robot.
I was sorry, I keep cutting you off. I was gonna say, did you like his new album, man? It's a hot
Um,
topic right now. Him and
so
Drake dropped their albums together.
oh yeah, okay. But see, like as a Canadian, I feel like you're gonna like my answer though. I don't want to compare him right away, but I did listen to Donda. I liked it. I thought it was too long. Certified Lover Boy. Honestly, he could have had a few more songs in there. I would have been happy to, but he killed it. But I do agree with what people are saying. I think that his point was like I can do a parody album of myself because I don't know if you heard that. A lot of people said that this is like a Drake parody album, but I think it's kind of like if you want to take it as that, that's fine. But I think that's his point. Even doing songs like "Way Too Sexy" is like he's making fun of how good he actually is. Like he's like, I'm so good, I can be lighthearted about it. And so that's why I love the album, or especially like more if I'm comparing them, because it's like taking a victory lap. That's what that album is like. I don't know.
Dude, I love the way you said that. That's sick. I get a lot of hate from my buddies because I'm actually not a Drake fan. I'm not a
Oh,
huge fan.
really?
Yeah, it's so
Oh,
funny,
man.
man. I get that reaction all the time, man, especially being in, like, I guess like the farther east you go, the more and more people love him because he's from Toronto and he's always with the raps. But I don't listen to a lot of his music. I used to listen to a lot of it, like when I was in high school, dude. When he came out with a lot of hits with Wayne, dude. When they had like trophies, I was like super into him. And then he started just going kind of more R&B, and I was like, dude, he's such a good lyricist and such a good rapper that like it hurts me to see him do this kind of stuff because I know how fire he can be. And then I
Yeah.
just stopped listening to him. But in the last couple years, bro, like when he had that beef with Meek Mill and he like came back with back to back, I was like, oh shit, this guy's for real, man. Like he's crazy.
Dude, he actually is. I don't know if you saw that TikTok, but like, and like all the love to Drake. But yeah, I definitely think he's definitely got he's got people backing him and he does not play around.
Yeah, dude, he went off, man. And I was like, and not only that, but that was like such an unreal song that I was like, dude, he still has bars. Like, I want him to come back. So once he came out with Certified Lover Boy, I was like, okay, this is shit that's kind of dope now. Like, I'm getting back into it now.
He
But
even put Nicki in there.
yeah, dude, it was so sick. I was like, literally, because I used to say I hated him for so long because he was just making pop music, and I was just tired of all these people that like, and I used to be super judgmental. So like I was like, man, you guys aren't even hip hop fans. Like you don't
Yeah,
fucking love it like I do. So I was like
yeah,
pissed, I didn't like him. But then he started coming back out with fire, and I was like, okay, this is dope, man. I like this again.
yeah.
He's kind of undeniable, man.
Yeah, I love his technique, and I don't even know if it's his technique. Basically, like, um, it's almost like he's fishing for fans. So like I like how he kind of did with the pop and all the stuff he's always wanted to do, even like a few like very like bottom heavy like island drum type music. It almost seems like he was trying to get fans from all around the world and certain genre or for certain like people who normally wouldn't listen to his music go like, you know, I actually like that Drake song, just so he could come back to this point and go, now I can make the music with Lil Wayne and Rick Ross and Nicki Minaj and still be the same Young Money guy, and now I have all these people that like me. And that's why, like, I hate to say it, but well, it's weird. I have a weird reason for why I hate to say it. I won't really go into it, but like I started to a second there. But yeah, I think Drake is just very, very powerful. I feel like we don't realize we're witnessing another like Jay-Z, to be honest. And so like if I ever get a Drake placement, I'm just gonna say thank you and keep my head down. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Because
Yeah,
like,
he's
yeah,
he's undeniable, man. It
yeah,
goes without saying, like he literally, and like I said, dude, I was not partial to him for a long time. I was like, man, fuck him. Like, but dude, he's undeniable now. Like I said, dude, back to back, I was like, okay, never mind. I take back everything I said. I eat my own words on this one, man. I can
yeah,
admit when I was wrong.
yeah.
I was just
But
bitter, man.
see, like, here's the good thing about Kanye that I will say. His music is like wine. So I had the same reaction of Life with Pablo. And then I see people like Timothy Chalamet, who's like a huge Kanye supporter, and he's like in Venice partying, listening to Kanye, like it's like like popping. And see, like I feel like some of his fans like are able to tap into, they're able to tap into the future and see like what we're gonna be feeling when I don't know, when he goes on tour again. Because every time Kanye actually goes on tour, people are, I don't know, they're just way more serious about him. But I don't think people were feeling these little pop-up shows. Honestly, I know a lot of people that went, but I don't think people were feeling them, even though it was cool. I thought it was the neatest thing because he was like giving you a taste of, hey, I'm not done with the album. What do y'all think? And all right, back to the studio. It's kind of cool and spiritual in a sense, like for like music, you know, like it was like an experience. But I liked how he released it, even though he said it was like not stolen. They like got the date wrong or something like that.
Yeah, I think, and like, dude, I don't know a shit ton about it to be 100% honest, but I think that the record was trying to hold him off because of the baby, because the
Yeah.
baby was on the track, and then now he's going through all this legal shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. They had to clear that sample. That's right. Or not the same. They had to clear his vocals. I forgot.
Yeah,
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 that's a
and
whole
Ye
other
was
thing.
like, keep him on. Fuck,
Mhm.
trust me, bro. I fucking hate cancel culture, so I can go in on that, man. I fucking hate that shit.
That's good because yeah, no, I feel like that's one of the things. You know, we get a lot of talk about mental health and stuff, and get a lot of talk about, you know, people being for people and people just people wanting more peace. But I think where that line is crossed is when people actually start doing stuff that hurts people, and sometimes cancel culture can do that because a lot of them don't deserve it, and it's sad. I don't know, it's sad to see like people get canceled or I don't know, being misinformed or not knowing something, and it's just yeah, it's sad.
Well, dude, like the main thing that always fires me up about it is like take that example for like for just like yeah, like an example, I guess. But it's like like how are people supposed to learn their boundaries if they don't get like socially corrected, if people don't
Mm-hmm.
like say shit, because like say I have an opinion that's fucked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I never say it and I just keep it like held in the back of my mind forever, and it like builds up and manifests in weird fucked up ways. Like wouldn't it be better if I were to just be able to like maybe bounce that idea off you and you could be like, bro, that's fucked up, or I say it in public and I just get punched in the mouth and then I learn my lesson? Like I like, in my personal opinion, we probably have similar opinions that way. It's like, how do you learn your boundaries unless you just push them? And then, dude, words are words. Like I said, the worst case scenario is like, do you remember when you're in high school and you say the wrong thing to the wrong guy and he just fucking punches you and you're like, fuck, I guess I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. I think like nowadays, like, yeah, people do want to, they want to put up certain boundaries around what they can and can't say. And I feel like, I feel like with him, I don't really even know the full story, but
I don't know
yeah,
either. I can't really like. I think he was just saying a bunch of homophobic shit on stage. I think he was saying something like, yeah, I don't want to get into it because I'm already like a step away from being canceled myself. But like, yeah, he
oh
was saying
yeah,
some homophobic shit. And I think like yeah, I think he's in jail. I don't know. I actually have no clue.
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I feel like when people just like, they can have like free speech, but I definitely don't think like hate speech is free speech or anything. But I think at the same time though, like people got to understand like where people are coming from. And I think sometimes a lot of the times actually is, um, somebody has a different way of saying something, especially like here in the South. And I know he's from the South, but like sometimes like people have a different way of saying something, and it'll come across weird or come out wrong, or I don't know. And I'm not saying it's his case, but yeah, no, I think like, yeah, people just don't understand a lot of different like differences as far as where people are from. And um like like their sayings, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely know here, like, yeah, we definitely have people who are like definitely still like would call themselves like anti-LGBTQ. But I feel like there's some people that are not, like so many people that were at one point probably like now have like a gay family member. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel like people are so like, for it now here. But I think at the same time, like it's still like you had the, like actually in Valdosta, there was this like hate crime. Some guy who got like the flag ripped from him. That was like really messed up. And like people were like videotaping it and like watching and laughing. And, like they all like got suspended, I think. So
Fuck.
that's good. Yeah. But yeah, not for that kid though, because he was on the ground. Like he literally like ripped it, and like he
But
like
bro, that's what
flew.
I'm saying. Is like that guy fucking learned his lesson. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is like if people aren't able to express those things publicly and like see the consequences of it, then they never get corrected.
Yeah, that guy, I'm pretty sure he's getting like sued. That guy, that guy is gonna get college tuition from that.
Yeah,
So
because we literally have hate speech over there, but like we over here, like we literally have hate speech laws. Like there's things that you'll get fucking fined for saying. Like you can't
yeah,
say shit like that already. So it's kind of like, yeah, we already have that kind of covered in the law for us. I don't think we need to cancel people. Like there's legal ways to deal with it. That's the way I look at
yeah,
it, at least.
yeah. What are so like in Canada, what's some things you can and can't say?
Mostly like racial slurs, like you can't say anything like that. Like you could, I guess there's nothing they can stop you from saying it in your house and shit. But if you said it to somebody on the street, like they could definitely fucking call the cops and you get fined. Like it's like I think it's even considered
Mm,
assault, man. Like I don't think you could say a lot, like in terms of like especially race and like anything like homophobic, even I think would be. I think even like transphobic stuff is a hate crime here as well. I
yeah,
don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Jordan Peterson used to get a lot of shit for it as well. I don't know if you like follow him or know who he is, but
no, I'm not sure who he is. I
he's
think.
like a psychologist in University of Toronto out east, but he was catching a
Mhm.
lot of shit for not complying with it and just like calling trans students what he thought was appropriate. I can't remember the exact
Mhm.
story. I don't want to butcher it and slander him, but I just know he was catching heat for it,
Yeah,
and it's like kind of a controversial topic.
yeah. No, like no, I can't really remember. Uh, what were we saying again? I'm sorry.
Like if you guys have like hate speech or like any like laws around that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's a few. Like I think a few of them are like it just depends on the situation. Like if there was like a racial incident and like they were able to prove it, then yeah, like that would be like a fine or like jail or something. Especially like if it was at a public event. Actually, no, in Georgia, if there is like I think like a um, Black Lives Matter march of any kind or any kind of like organization, and then like what's it called? Any kind of like predominantly white group comes up, they're considered, I think, like a threat now, so that's good. Um, let's see, what else do we have? You can't, well, I mean, this is kind of normal, but you can't like cuss out a cop because that's like considered assault because like it's them angry. And so like they're able to like use force at that point or something. Oh,
Yeah, it's like
kind of weird.
aggravating a police officer kind of thing. Like instigation, I think is one of, is that what it's
Yeah,
called? Instigation?
yeah, it's like that, but also it like say that person was actually like it would be stupid to do that, but like actually had something on them, it would be like it like goes up two charges or something because like I don't know if it's like that this way in
Oh, like
Canada.
trying to like draw a reaction from the cop and then shoot him in self-defense kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, because like people can carry guns here, so like they have to be really careful. Um, yeah, it's funny because like I've been watching Cops like a lot lately, and I don't know, it's just kind of like it's kind of interesting to see like uh here in America, like we have some interesting situations with cops and like how people are and how stupid they are. It's like it almost makes sense why some people go to jail, but it's sad for the people that like just don't deserve it at all. And like they're just a victim of the system and or a victim of like just bad time, wrong place, wrong time. I've seen a lot of those more than anything, to be honest. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
man. It's such a, that's like, I'd say one of the biggest cultural differences is like, especially like in Canada, because there's no open carry anywhere in Canada. Like that's not a
Yeah.
thing. You can't do that. You could do like if you have like what's called, it's like called a possessions and acquisitions license
Yeah.
where I'm at. You have to get like a license to even like purchase a weapon. And then
Mhm.
you could have like a hunting rifle or whatever you like, I guess like certain handguns. And then there's like a restricted license, which is like the guns that you have to have registered, and the like police and the government would have like exactly what guns you have. They'd have to have like a full inventory. So like there's
Hmm.
like two different levels of like gun license. To what I know, I actually don't have. I'm trying to. I was thinking about getting one recently because a lot of my buddies hunt now, and I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to get into this. Like, I want to try it out because I've
Yeah.
been eating more of their game, and I'm like, dude, why am I buying meat in the fucking grocery store when I can get it better out there?
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all have like elk though.
Yeah, elk, moose, bear, you can get everything here. It's crazy, dude.
Oh man. That sounds so fun. I need to get like Canada seems like the one of the chillest places in like
It
ever. I
definitely
don't
can be. It can definitely be tense. Like right now in the last year or so, it's been kind of tense, but I feel like it's been everywhere in North America's like that, where it's everyone's fucking so polarized right now, man.
yeah, yeah. It's I mean, even here, like I actually my arm's still so sore. I just got my vaccine. And I had been waiting on it. I don't know. I just wanted to make sure it was like FDA approved. And I finally got the FDA approved one, but man, my arm hurts so bad. It hurts ah, like even just like moving it right here, it's bad. I don't know.
Uh,
Have you
what's
gotten
that?
yours yet?
No, I haven't yet, man. I haven't yet. I'm still waiting because as well, actually, because dude, times are tense, and like it's kind of funny here because like they're doing. I guess they just announced that they're trying to do it there as well, but they're rolling it out differently, like the vaccine mandate. And like I won't get like too much into it, but like I'm kind of like against the mandate, pretty against the mandate, man. So I'm kind of waiting for all the dust to settle because it's like, man, I don't want to like just get it under pressure, and I don't want to get too much into it. I've made a couple episodes about it recently,
Oh,
and
I'll have to check it out then. Yeah, I haven't got to
yeah,
get to this.
yeah, man. But yeah, so I'm just kind of waiting for all this dust to settle because I just don't really want to, yeah, contribute to like having the mandate come through. Like I'm definitely not an anti-vaxxer. I've had tons of vaccines in my life, man. It's just like
Yeah,
I don't want the fucking mandate. I don't really think that that's ethical, and I don't really think that our like it's a completely different like government kind of climate here because like it's not really like a president in the sense that like you're like each state is kind of still doing their own thing, whereas like they're
yeah,
trying to push it federally here, so like across the board, and there's a lot of fucked up stuff going on here, and
yeah,
especially they're trying to pass a lot of bills in like the behind the scenes thing actually against free speech and like against gun licenses as well, so it's like kind of there's a lot of like shady shit happening in behind the scenes. So it's kind of like, what the fuck's going on here, really? But I mean, like, I feel like Americans feel like that with their politics as well. So I don't really think that
yeah,
that's uncommon, man.
yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows what's going on here. Like, really, I think we're all just in shock. But yeah, I'm with you. There's a lot I could get into. But it's just like, oh, it's eating me alive right now. But
I don't have my
yeah,
tinfoil hat though, bro. I just have my snapback, so I can't talk about this stuff too much.
I
If I
know.
had my tinfoil hat on, it'd be a different story, man.
I know it would protect the bad frequencies from my brain, man. Because like, oh, well, I was gonna say something. I forgot we were talking about something earlier. I wanted to come back to it, but oh yeah. One thing I will say though about the vaccine is, and not to add to your reasoning, but if I would be lying if I said that I don't feel a little bit different than I did yesterday, like
Yeah, but
for sure.
I will say this, like, because like I've had vaccinations before where I feel a little fucked up for a little while. Like that's pretty normal. Like so
Yeah.
like that's the thing is like people want to pick on that shit. And it's like, dude, I have no problem with vaccines. I'm actually like I fucking last year I work in construction. I put a nail through my finger and I got a tetanus
Oh
shot.
man,
Like I'm not because I was at risk for tetanus. So I got a tetanus shot. Like
those
it made
hurt though.
it made
Tetanus shot.
sense.
Yeah,
Do
the
you know what I
tetanus
mean?
shot. Yeah.
Like it's like I've had shots before, and like it's normal to be a little bit like kind of like sore, or because like you said, man, tetanus shots. Like I was like fucking sore for a while, man. So like that's not even what I'm like. I'm not one of those people that I mean, like side effects from shit is real and it should be studied as well. But it's like I'm not a huge, and this is gonna fucking get me canceled, but like, bro, I'm not a big government guy. Like I don't fucking really like the government being involved. The way that I look at it, man, and like especially in the South right now with some of the laws that Texas just put through, people are talking about this a lot. But like I just don't think that a lot of the things that the government have been doing recently are like really things that they should be really doing. Like there was a prime minister that we had a long time ago, and he was quoted saying like the government has no business being in the bedrooms of Canadians. And what he was referring to is like gay rights, like gay marriage rights. And like that's kind of the way I view a lot of the shit. Like it's like, dude, this isn't really your place. Like you're supposed to give us like social programs and deal with our healthcare, do some tax shit. Like this isn't really like what you're supposed to be doing in my life. Like this isn't your
Right.
role. Like that's kind of the way I
Exactly.
look at it.
Yeah. No, they're way too intrusive. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things I think about. I think about a lot of our system, even down to like I have people. I might get a weird reaction out of this. I don't know, but like I think, and what's funny is like we have really good law enforcement officers. We have people in our place and in places that like I could definitely see us keeping people in law enforcement, but a part of me sometimes I just like wonder if like how we've seen like a lot of the robots and a lot of the like things lately like that. I also believe in small government too, like where I'm just not a fan of the government, but I believe in like smart government. So putting the smartest people in charge and
100%.
letting things like whereas most people would find like cops as robots scary, more of like it's almost like you're not going to call a cop to take care of like I don't know, like a dispute between like a husband and wife. Like at a certain point, they need to save like the humans for the Iron Man suits, you know, and they need to like go up against actual crime, not like on actual like government territory and not just like civilians. Cause I think like that's what creates this divide too, is that it's literally our military and on our people, at least in America, because they can just, I mean, like, man, I saw a video the other day, this cop just like, and I'm like I'm like for cops. I'm not like Blue Lives Matter guy, but I'm not like, I don't hate the cops. You know, they're actually helpful. They, you know, like I actually just um like
It's like, what's the
think,
alternative? Just let fucking cowboy like Wild West kind of bullshit happen. Like,
yeah, yeah, and
I feel
that's the
you.
thing. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm not I'm definitely not for the like this it's this way or that way. I feel like it's a little bit of both. Like I feel like um some people, and like what I've realized is a lot of people in law enforcement are just like someone graduating from high school. They're totally new to the world. They've never went to like another state, or they never went to another country. So they don't know a lot. So I think like there's definitely like with on a base level of law enforcement, like I said, like, you know, it's almost like we need different things in place. Like, I don't know, some sort of station or some sort of like robot of some sort that is not like has nothing to do with humans, but just does a certain, so like surveillance, instead of actually having somebody on the sidewalk to then call somebody and then they have 15 cops at one scene. Like I feel like it's just one of those things about, especially in America, like we're so police focused, and we're not like, it's almost like there's not any other um important like positions, if that makes sense. It's almost like that is like it just goes up the scale. I don't know, it's a weird way of explaining it, but
No, I
we're
feel you, man.
we're
Because
so police minded.
yeah, it's different as well. Because in Canada, it's a completely different system. Like for our police, like we have what's called the RCMP, which is like the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They literally
Yeah,
ride horses, man. Like it's actually pretty badass. But
that is sick.
they don't ride horses everywhere, like mostly for ceremonies, but I have seen them on horses before. But
Mm-hmm.
basically the way that it works is it's like a federal policing system. And then some bigger cities will have their own, like we have like VPD for Vancouver, but they're only within like the city confines of Vancouver. Like they don't exist where I live. Like we just have RCMP for across the country. And the way that they do it, it's actually I think that this might actually be a solution, like kind of for what you're saying, because for like to become an RCMP, I think I could be wrong, but you have to either have a degree or experience in trade school. Like you have to have some post-secondary schooling. And then you have to go, like they all go into like basically the middle of butt fuck nowhere. It's this place called Regina. It sounds kind of funny, but they literally all go to this fucking main base, and it's like almost military training. Like they go through a lot. So it's like you don't get people like, because I like, and this is my kind of outside view looking in on like a lot of the things in America. Like a lot of the times, like what you're saying kind of rings true. Like it looks like there's a lot of people that are just kind of like unprepared or inexperienced. And then it's like, well, no shit. Like if you get a guy and you put him in a dangerous situation where some guy could have a gun pulled on him, like obviously he's going to resort to maximum force right away because he's like
Exactly.
scared for his own life. But like with ours, like if you like kind of like two people that are basically like military training, like, and especially like, and I don't know if this is like kind of a pro fucking gun control thing to say or not, but like our citizens really the only people that have guns are people that have licenses or gangsters. So it's like most people don't have them, and especially wouldn't have them on them just walking around the street.
Mhm.
Because if you did, you'd be fucked. Like that's
Right,
not right. Like you'd already be fucked for that. But
right.
like if someone has military training and they're stopping me because like whatever happens, like they're not fucking scared for their life. They're like, I could fucking tune this guy like a violin. Like, like
Yeah,
it doesn't fucking matter to them. They're like, whatever. Like they just tase me or baton me, like worst. Like there's no real, like there's sometimes like, cause like once you have your gun license, you're on the system. So like, it doesn't mean that you're always carrying, but say like you get pulled over and they run your plates and they see like they can pull up your insurance, it'll tell them whether or not you are a gun owner. And that's like the first question. If you have your gun license, they'll ask you when you get pulled over is like, do you have any firearms on you? And you just, I'll be honest. And if you do, then you tell them what you're doing with it. And if you don't, then you fucking say no. But like, that's the first question. That's the first thing that's on their mind. But you guys have like a completely different legal system. So it's like, you don't have to have your weapons registered. And like these cops, like you said, like you can be fresh out of high school and just get a job there. So like, I feel like a lot of the times the training, and then it also comes down to like kind of the climate of what's going on. Cause like our citizens aren't armed. So it's completely different.
Yeah, man, it would be a completely different story. Like somebody was getting pulled over in the South, like because you like over up, like you don't have to worry about weed, but like where we live, like things like weed is like is illegal still. So like
yeah, we have fucking stores that sell it, man. Like it's so
you got
funny.
like you police officer pulls you over and he's got like a joint in his hand. He's like, "Hey man, I just want to let you do a little fast back."
Yeah, you can't smoke it and drive because that's a DUI still. But you could be walking down the street and actually no, because it's so weird because you can't technically smoke it in public. Like it's the same as drinking in public. Like you can't be like publicly intoxicated, but like you can have it on you and you could like, yeah, it's super funny like the way that the law works. But we had a mayor like before it was even decriminalized in Vancouver, it was already like kind of part of the culture that it was just not something like, I remember we had a mayor in Vancouver, so like right next door, and he basically said like, I don't want my fucking court system clogged up with this bullshit. Like we're putting people in jail for fucking weed. Like it's fucking weed. Like we have fucking heroin people, like heroin dealers to go after. Like he literally said to the VPD. So like we used to say like VPD was way more chill than RCMP because the VPD were told like, we don't want this clogging up our federal, like, or our court system in Vancouver. So like, it's always just kind of been lax here. And like, yeah, unless you're like driving around smoking it, like it's pretty laid back in terms of weed here, man. Like you can buy a fucking ounce at the store. Like,
man, yeah. See, like it's that way here with like we have this thing called Delta 8, which is like because like you can have CBD here and like actually in Atlanta they decriminalize it. Like it's weird. It's the only place you can like really have like marijuana. But yeah, no, we have this thing called Delta 8, and it's literally like cannabis, but it's just it comes from hemp, and it's the weirdest thing because it literally smokes like it's weed, but it's not technically weed. It's like hemp. It's so weird, but it's pretty good. Not gonna lie, it's definitely good. But I would love to go to Canada for that reason for sure. Because like I have ADD and I have a bunch of stuff like and like even down to like my stomach, man. Oh, it like there's so many things wrong with me as far as like health wise, like but not like on a serious level, but like on like a what some of them, but like it was at one point, but basically yeah, it helps a lot of like symptoms. So that's one thing I've always been like and like somebody that like is like outspoken about is like man like Delta 8 is like amazing. That and like just like always wanted to go to Canada for that for sure. For sure.
yeah, Vancouver is definitely that, man. Like we're like a less warm California. Let's put it that way. Politically, actually, right now, who knows? This is because we're actually going through a federal election right now. I feel like Americans don't really pay attention to our politics as much, but we're literally going through a federal election right now. So it might be a little bit different, but we've got pretty similar politicians in power. The way I look at it, they're standing for similar things right now, at least. Like between our prime minister and your president. So it'll be interesting to see what happens because he there's an election right now. So he's either riding his time out right now or he's getting another couple years.
Yeah. I feel like people paid more attention to our president when it was Trump. to be honest. I feel like Trump was like I feel like he kept everybody kind of like on their toes and with like
He's an animal, man. He's so
yeah,
fucked. He's so funny though. It's
dude.
so funny because like I feel like I feel like every president you guys have had recently, like Barack Obama wasn't as entertaining to watch, but like Trump was fucking entertaining to watch, man. And even
Yeah.
Joe Biden, like whether you like, look, Joe Biden and Trump, you could say this about both of them. Whether you like them or not, they're fucking funny to watch, man. They're
Okay.
fucking funny to watch.
But one of them's a little bit more sad because like one of them's sure of himself and the other one's just kind of like he's talking about one thing.
He's not even sure
like,
where he is, dude. Like,
yeah.
there.
Oh man.
He's just
Oh
there.
man. He's like,
He's not very popular in Georgia, I take it.
no, not really. No, he's not. But I mean, there's still like that like circle of like people that are like really like for like even in like the small towns, like there's still like people who are really pro Biden, but like yeah, it was mostly Trump. It
That's
was
because
really
they like 90s Biden, man. They like fucking
yeah,
80s and 90s Biden who was making weed illegal. And then there's all those
yeah.
rural people are like, fuck yeah, Biden.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. He was not for that. He was like, I forgot his actual quote, but yeah, he kind of messed that up a little bit.
Him and
So
Clinton with that like is like that crime mandate or whatever. It was like
yeah,
it was like yeah, bananas. But to
yeah,
kind of stray away from politics a little bit, I was gonna ask you, I wanted to get back actually. I kept forgetting to ask you about this, but before we wrap this up, I wanted to chat with you about, now that you've gotten back into music, like how have you kind of noticed that? And this is like a huge U-turn on the conversation, but like
yeah, no, it's fine.
how have you noticed like that kind of impacted your life? Because you were talking about like confidence and self-esteem before, like how have you kind of found that I guess music has impacted like your mental health coming back to it?
Honestly, so I feel like the whole journey has been so separate from music, but the same. Like I feel like the music is more of like for me, um, symbolism. It's more of about my journey though, and I feel like it's kind of like how we were talking about how the movie. It's like you think it's about one thing, but it actually like ends. The idea of it ends at me getting that confidence back. So I think when I started getting my confidence back, I think that definitely had to do with music, but I think it was because I was able to have more of like an outlet. And I think I was able to like, I don't know, just like make moves that I didn't think I could do, like even simple shit, just like just, I don't know, networking. Cause like there was a time in my life where it was like way after um, community college and right after a time before my mom passed away, where basically like I didn't want to talk to anybody. I realized like I didn't socialize at all. So I don't know, music bringing me to like networking and stuff and talking to more people, like that's enough within itself. Like that I'm talking to more people and able to like have relationships and I'm able to communicate with people. And yeah, it's been really good, honestly, because it was a rough time. And I think like with music, it's also allowed me to tap into different skill sets. Like honestly, if it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have done digital marketing, to be honest, like little things like that. So it's been really fun. I'm really glad I'm back into it.
Yeah, because I feel like, and like even myself, because I like you, like I had a background in sales, but when I was super depressed, man, like I was like literally the same as you. I didn't want to fucking talk to anybody. It was just like I just want to go to work, do a workout after, and then just fucking fuck off and play video games. Like,
Yeah.
but now like I'm doing a podcast. It's like, oh shit, like I'm talking to people all the time and like for hours. Like I'm sitting there
Right.
talking to people. So it's like, dude, it's kind of like improved my communication skills in terms of like maybe I don't sound a lot more educated because I still swear a lot and use a lot of slang, but it's like it's improved my communication skills in the sense that like I'm a lot more honest with people when I speak to them. I'm a lot more like authentic to like my own beliefs and my own values, and I'm more comfortable speaking to people. So I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
and especially like when you start producing, because like that like pretty much is the whole business. Like I have a buddy of mine that makes music as well, and like you always have to be fucking talking to new people, working with new people, like literally like all the time. Do you think like, because I feel like that's parallel to every other career, that people always want to like follow their dreams and chase their dreams, but they're like, oh, but I'm too scared to fucking reach out to this person. I'm too scared to just have the first conversation. Like, what do you like? Do you think that, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, what would you say to somebody that like is just kind of starting a side hustle? Maybe it's producing, maybe it's making a podcast, maybe it's like literally, I don't know, fucking selling butterfly t-shirts. Like, what would you say to
Yeah.
someone that's kind of feeling the same way that we were, where it's like, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. I just want to do my shit.
Yeah, it's that I would say it's that get ready to be tired. Cause like it takes a lot out of you. Like for me, I noticed like doing that first, even the first time I uploaded a beat, it took a lot out of me, but I was happy when I did it. And also I would say don't celebrate, like don't celebrate too much. So say something good happens, like you can celebrate for sure, but like work twice as hard, and if not harder, and like only celebrate, have like a set time for that, but like just to keep working. Because there were several opportunities, to be honest, I could think of that I just kind of let go because of just distractions. And the second you let up, it starts going so fast and people start going in different directions. And yeah, so I would just say that, yeah, for sure.
That's like literally the biggest lesson, because I it was like I had my first like 100 download day earlier this year, and I was like,
Mhm.
fuck yeah, man, triple digits in one day, like that was so
Right.
dope. Like, and then for the, like a couple months in the summer, I was like just fucking off on weekends, going camping or just chilling out with my buddies, like, and it's like, man, I let my foot off the gas, dude. It's time to get back to fucking work.
Right. Yeah. No, but it always like whenever you do get your foot back on that gas, it always does. Like I've noticed sometimes it'll come back three times what you thought. It just I don't know how that works. It just always like, at least for me, I've always like had a better response, and maybe it's the level of enthusiasm I have like going into it. But I basically, I don't know, I get like three times the response. So I wish that on everybody doing something like that. You know.
Yeah, man. And I always like contribute as well, because like I've worked like, and you kind of sound like you've had this like similar history. Like I always worked in jobs where like I enjoyed my jobs. Like I worked in restaurants and I really enjoyed working in the restaurant industry. It's a fun fucking place to be at. And like
Right.
I worked in gyms. I sold gym memberships in the fitness industry for a few years. And like, dude,
Right.
I loved that job as well, but like I wasn't fucking doing something that I was like passionate about, and there was no way to like kind of be creative with it. Like it was just like someone
Yeah.
else's business. Like, did you notice that like when you were starting to be like more creative and like, because before you were doing covers when you were in music, and now like this time you're like having the ability to do a lot more art, like even with digital art as well. Like I feel like there's this weird correlation between mental health and like actually exploring creativeness and being able to like have the confidence to be like, I'm gonna fucking do this.
Yeah. It's and you were saying what was that point? That point for me, I asked myself, you like this thing, but Lance, what is your thing? And I think once I asked myself that, that's when it just hit for me. Like, and I think like for a lot of people, and maybe like, you know how people say like the entrepreneur life, or because I feel like there's a, like even people who do like the 9 to 5 or just like have like a normal job, like there's still some sort of there's a reason why a lot of people quit and do like the whole entrepreneurial route is because like they're seeing something inside of them. And I think that's what that thing is like. They enjoy doing something, but it's like then it hits them one day like, what is your thing? And then when they figure out like their thing, it's because like maybe they figure out they just wanted to belong to something. They just wanted something to be really good at, and they see it and line it with like they put it in line with like what's going on in today, and I think they definitely see like you know what they could do as far as having their own business, but also having like us giving people something that they're passionate about, but also something that's going to create value on like a long monetary scale. But like I don't know, I feel like passion is the most important thing. And I feel like finding something that like you could be honest with yourself, like, am I good at this, or am I just doing it because I'm kind of good at it and I just kind of want to make it like a hobby? Because like if there's something finds and they're like, wow, I want to turn this into a business, they're going to come at it way different from like, oh, this is just a hobby and I enjoy it. So I don't know. I could speak a lot on that because I've had so much experience of back and forth of, is this real or is this a business? Or, so many times, even in this, like so many times.
100%, man. And it's like, it's hard because like, it's free to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking terrifying. Like, I know for myself, like one of my biggest things with doing the podcast is like a lot of the things that I talk about with, like, in terms of like mental health is like different than what the average like mental health person would talk about on their podcast or on Instagram. Like a lot of like the rhetoric out there is like, oh, you're already perfect. Like everything else has to kind of adapt for you. And my take on it is the exact opposite. Like, it's like, well, what the fuck? Where do you need to improve? Because if you're not feeling your best, then something's going on internally. Like, that's something you need to fucking look at. And so like, I was scared in the very beginning because I was like, fuck, man, what are going to people like? Maybe they're going to judge me for my opinions, or maybe I'm not going to be able to convey it well. Like maybe I sound too fucked, like, cause I swear a lot. And like, I don't really talk properly all the time. Like people, I was always scared. Like people would be like, did you even fucking study psychology? And I'm like, like you always run all these things. Like, I'm sure like as an artist as well, you get that where you're like, fuck, what are people going to say about this? Like, maybe I think it sounds dope, but like, is this going to hit with people? Like,
Yeah.
it's like when you're creating anything, like there's just fucking fear of just judgment all the time. And like, I feel like once you start to, and dude, like I'm on my second year of doing this now. Like I actually just finished my second year. So I'm on my third year technically of doing this. So it's a lot more comfortable for me. And like, I can talk more openly and I just feel more comfortable. Yeah, that's the best way to say it. But like the first year, bro, was fucking brutal. I felt so robotic and I was too scared to post anything that I made. Like it was like, once you get over that hump of like fearing that judgment, then I feel like, dude, that gives you like you were saying earlier, like that gives you the confidence to start being yourself, like, and show face and start like, okay, now I can start to say this, like, instead of like, oh, and I just recently started changing the way I talk about it as well. Cause I used to tell people like, oh, I just started this podcast because I was like scared about if they gave me a bad review, I could be like, oh, but I just started. You know what I mean? But now I just tell people, yeah, I run a podcast. Like it's my thing. That's my thing now. Like, did you have like a similar experience where you're like, oh yeah, like I kind of make music, and now you're like, dude, I'm a producer?
Yeah, no, like that was me for, I think, I would say like 2018 to 2019. And then after like 2019, I just, so like, yeah, in 2020, like it hit me like, wow, like you're a producer. Like, wow, like I'm actually like doing this for a career and I'm actually like working with people and networking and on like a small scale too, but then it just got bigger. And just ever since I've been kind of taking it more seriously. I backed up a little bit, but I always came back stronger. But yeah, in 2018, I remember thinking, because I was like back when I was going to school, but I remember being at school around so many people, super talented. Could have said it then, didn't say it. I remember being a student in 2019, still didn't feel it. And then it just hit me in 2020. The year I was supposed to spend my last semester, but COVID like totally messed that up. And yeah, it was just like, it was super weird because like it hit me last minute, it felt like at a moment where I should have known the whole time. But I guess that's just kind of like part of it, is just realizing like you kind of had opportunities and you could have realized it then. But I'm hard on myself. I'm going to say that kind of stuff anyways, to be honest. Like, I should have realized that that's such a mean thing to say.
Dude, I'm the exact same. I'm very self-critical that way, man. I'm like, fuck, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have done this differently.
But that's what makes the power of this moment. And that's why, like, I wish that I would have wrote like the book. What was that called? The Spectacular Now, not the actual book, but the title. That title is such like if my life could be anything, I would want it to be like the spectacular now, but not like living just for the moment, but what can you do now that's going to change forever? Like this, that's how I'd like to think of it, you know?
Yeah, and like I don't know because I haven't actually asked you this yet, but I don't know how old you are, but like for me, like I'm 26, man. So like I think back to like when I was like just finishing high school, like 17 years old. And like
Yeah.
I think back to the times where I'm like, oh, I don't want to waste my time trying to do this or do that. Like I always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I never did. I always wanted to make a podcast. I never did. There was all these things I wanted to do. And like looking back on it now, how it's like pretty much 10 years later, I'm like, dude, this time's gonna fucking pass you by anyways. So you might as
Mm.
well be trying to do your shit because like I look back and like and obviously there's been so much I've fucking learned and there's been so many lessons, but there's also been a lot of opportunities in terms of like making money and doing all these other things. So I don't want to say the last 10 years of my life have been wasted, but there's like what I'm trying to say is like if you're feeling like you're just like, and this is for like someone out there listening to this, like if you're feeling like fuck man, I don't want to waste my time trying this or that, like it's like dude, that time's gonna fucking go by quick anyways. Like you have nothing to lose because you're gonna lose fucking time anyway. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if you can kind of resonate with that or if that hits for you, but like that's kind of something that I've been trying to tell myself right now where it's like, man, time's going. So like I
Yeah.
gotta fucking work, man.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I'm 24, so like not that far behind. So, I mean, you start seeing people and that like they're 21 and they're getting married and 22 and it's almost like the world's moving at one pace. And like, I don't, I think that's another thing is like realizing like, yeah, you got to go, but you're also not on anybody else's timeline. So like your time might be it where like I wanted to be. Like if I had it my way, I would have been like a hit producer uh, at like 18, like my senior year of high school, and that's how I would have liked to do it. But
Like
who's
Mac
to
Miller,
say?
man, just blow up in
Yeah,
like 60
yeah,
years old.
yeah. Just like Deuces, like right out of high school, like they're all yeah. That's like how everybody expects it to be or wants it to be, but that didn't happen for me. But man, like I learned so much about life. Like even like thinking about like going back to like doing like insurance and like weird jobs like that. Like what was I thinking? But at the same time, I know exactly what I was thinking. I knew exactly like things that taught me. So I'm happy I did it, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's more interesting to like to kind of talk to people like yourself where it's like this is the real side of it. Like people want to see like the Mac Millers and like the fucking, you know, Ice Cube, or I'm trying to think of all these people that blew up super young. Like Justin Bieber is a perfect example. And
Yeah.
like people think that that's how the industries work. Like, but it's like I think that these conversations are most important because it's like that's not how it fucking works. Like I
Right.
said, like I'm on my third year now making this podcast and like it hasn't blown up. I'm not fucking huge and popping. Like I've gotten quite a few more followers on Instagram than when I started and little improvements like, and it's always like a small gradual climb, but it's like I feel like that's more of a representation of how like anything works. Like even if you start your own business, like anything
Yeah.
is going to take fucking years and people think you're just going to blow up overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think some people do because, and I mean, like, yeah, like some people say it's because they go like, and they do it this a certain way, but I think like some people catch on to like a certain, I guess, trend and then they get like they're getting like a certain audience and it takes them almost like into a wave. But the people who have like the longest careers, I've noticed they build it from like a long journey. So yeah, I think that building something and is always the way. I think waves are waves are easy to catch, but man, when you like crash, it it's not fun, you know. And that's definitely I don't want to be catching a wave and crashing. That would be crazy for me. I would not want to do that.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's kind of the way I feel like as well. Like things that like all the fucking TikTok trends and all the shit that goes viral on Instagram and shit like that. Like you see it for like 3 days and then it disappears. Like all the times like a new meme comes out or a new trend on TikTok, it's like, oh yeah, it's there for like 4 days and then the next one comes around. But then the people that take years, like dude, like in the podcast world, like Joe Rogan's king, obviously. And it's like, dude, his podcast was around for like a decade before it actually blew up to be like the Joe Rogan experience that it is now. Like people
Right.
think that he just blew up and got this $100 million deal with Spotify, but it's like, dude, he was making fucking UFC like fucking podcasts behind the scenes at UFC fights and all this stuff like for
Yeah.
like 10 years before anyone even watched him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
now
never
he's
got
the
to.
king.
Yeah, I never got to hear those though. That I've heard people talk about like you got to go watch his or listen to his old podcast. But the oldest ones I can remember, like I think the first man, like I'm like I was really late to the train. The first podcast I watched from him was the one with Dan Bilzerian. I don't know
Yeah.
why. That was the one I picked. It was just and I was like, you know what, this guy, I like listening to this dude. And I was like, wait a minute. And like I was like, I checked my phone. And I was like, is this that dude from Fear Factor? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know Joe Rogan because I like, man, this was back in 2016, 17. I didn't know that Joe Rogan, like back then, was like the same dude from Fear Factor or whatever. I don't know. They just like hit me. They don't look the same.
Yeah, yeah, because he looks so different now, man. He's had a nose surgery, I think, because he had
That,
deviated
yeah.
septums from fighting. So he had to have like a nose surgery and like he's obviously older now and fucking super jacked. Whereas like
Mhm.
before he was just lean, now he's like fucking jacked.
That's
So
probably what it is. Yeah.
and he's
He has
bald
this.
now too. He used to have hair.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got like a Dana White look. Like I get them confused all the time. Like I'll be like, oh, there's Dana. No, that's actually Joe Rogan.
Dude, yeah. And he's got some good people, man. Like he gets musicians on there, he gets actors, he get like Matthew McConaughey was on there. Like
Yeah.
he's got like, yeah, he's got fighters. He's got so many different people on, man. He just had
Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain's assistant on like a week or two ago, and they were just chatting about Anthony Bourdain. Like it was like super sick, man. So
Who was that?
Anthony Bourdain or his
Yeah.
assistant. He was the guy from what was that fucking it was like he was like a chef. He's a celebrity chef. But he was that guy that did I can't remember what the fucking show's called now, where he would travel around the world and kind of highlight different like world cultures. But he was like a fucking raging alcoholic. And then near the end of it, he got sober and was getting into martial arts. But he was like, yeah, there's so many different stories, but he was just such a beauty, man. And
Oh,
he ended up taking his own life a couple years ago. And so Joe
oh,
just got to interview his assistant and they just kind of talked about his life and what she learned in his like basically working with him and what she did before and what she's planning on doing now. Like it was a pretty
yeah,
fucking dope interview, man.
man. Yeah, no, I did not know who that was. Like when I think of chef, I automatically think of like Gordon Ramsay or something. But no, like I had no idea about that. I'm gonna have to go check that out. That seems interesting. I can't even think of the last Joe Rogan episode I saw. Uh, who was it? Oh, some like I don't know if it was the dude that shot Bin Laden, but it was I think it was somebody that knew him. I don't know exactly, or I might be thinking of a Full Sin podcast episode. I hope I'm not, but that's a whole other podcast. They're from Canada though. No,
Yeah, dude. Nelk, they're from Toronto. They're from the other side of the country. But yeah, dude, they are. I just remember I had to look it up. It was Parts Unknown was the documentary, and then the other one, I think he was on Top Chef a couple times as well. But Parts Unknown is like the Netflix documentary about uh Anthony Bourdain, man. So
Parts Unknown. Okay.
and then I think he has like another, it's like No Reservations or something like that. I can't remember, but super wild character, man. And he's like this crazy chef. But yeah, Dude, I feel like Joe Rogan should interview now because that'd be fucking hilarious. Now that you said no.
Yo, yeah, I don't know why he hasn't done that. I really don't. I feel like that would be a crazy episode. And they have their own now, so maybe they could invite him.
Yeah, dude. I feel like he's got to invite fucking I can't who's fighting everyone? Is it Jake Paul or Logan Paul? I don't know the fucking
Um,
difference between them.
I think they both do. Jake had the recent fight. That's what I do. I do know that, but I don't know.
Joe
I'm
should
not.
interview them. Maybe he has already, and people are gonna dog me for this, but like, why hasn't he interviewed them? What the fuck?
I don't know, man. Like I feel like the young guys don't. I feel like they kind of have their own circle, like, and they're trying to like. I don't know. They just Joe doesn't pick up them. He wants to pick up the people like, hmm, who does let's just get my buddy Cameron Haynes. Yeah, yeah. I also watch the ones with him. Yeah, the hunting
Yeah, dude,
guy.
he's such a beauty, Cameron Haynes. I love
Yeah,
that guy, man. He's part
yeah,
of the reason I want to start hunting. I'm like, fuck, this
yeah.
guy's a dope guy, man.
The first time I went up in a hunting stand, and I didn't like. I'm not even like one of those guys from the south. It's like, oh, I hunt. No, like I'm not. I'm not one of those guys at all. But I have been before. I went up with a bow, and it was still like one of the coolest experiences because like it's so like exactly how they describe it, like on a Joe Rogan episode. It's like except I don't, get to go back, and I couldn't anyways because I have a bad shoulder. But yeah, I really want to get into archery again though. I got to get my shoulder better, but it's such a fun thing that I miss, but it's expensive. A lot of people don't realize that archery is expensive. Like I lost so many arrows. They're like $20 each, $30 each sometimes. God.
It's probably twice as much here, man. I feel like everything's way cheaper down there, man. It's probably twice as
Yeah.
much. I have no idea though.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Well, dude, out of respect for your time as well, like I feel like we've got to cut this off pretty quick, but I
All right,
wanted to
man.
kind of give you an opportunity to I always like to say this, like I never do my own outros, man. I do my own intro, you do the outro, bro. It's on you. So I'm gonna throw the mic over to you. Give people like kind of give yourself a shout out, tell people where they can find you and kind of actually you can plug that project you just sent me earlier as well, the one that you
Oh
did
yeah.
2 tracks on, because I think people should listen to that. But
Yeah.
the only requirement is you have to give some sort of either positive or motivating message, something to kind of uplift the spirits, even if you just want to say something like that. But for anybody that's listening that kind of, I guess, was in similar shoes that you were in earlier in life, like kind of give some words to them.
Yeah.
Do
Like
the
right now, you
outro,
want me to
bro.
go right now?
Yeah, it's up to you, bro.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening with me and Mark. If there's one thing I could say after this episode, I would say be honest with yourself. Uh, go hard, and when you think you've went hard, go even harder. Which, like we talked about, don't celebrate too early. Keep going, but also stay positive in that. So yeah, there's a lot I could keep talking about on that. We'll have to say that. But again, yeah, you could follow me. It's kind of confusing, but it's at Bryant_music, but it's Bryant without the A. So you just take out the A because it used to be Bryant, but it's just spelled that way. It just helps. But thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it.
Don't worry, bro. Like if anyone's looking for his information, it'll definitely be in like the description of this. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description below. But if you listen to the podcast, it'll be in like the show notes as well. But
Awesome.
man, thank you so much for this chat, dude. I really appreciate it. And it was wicked, man. It was like a perfect mix of just casual conversation, but also some good shit as well. So I think that people will be
Yeah.
able to be entertained and hopefully learn something as well. But thank you so much for listening, guys. That's all I got. Much love and peace out.